All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of Gar Capital. It is Monday, June 26, 2023. Pardon the noise. I do have some family over for the summer, for actually a couple days, just visiting. So again, if you hear children in the background, it's my wife's nephew and nieces. So welcome aboard this morning. It is Monday, back to work. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Let's go ahead and get started. Right here, as you have in front of you, is the live market blog. Been working since 6 a.m. to give you all the news and information you need to get your day started. And of course, it culminates with the morning note at 9 a.m. Again, if you are interested in joining the live market blog, which is free for all, go to our website, www.gar.capital, and sign up for the free plan. Free plan is the live market blog. Hope to see you there. Thanks again for your support. As always, Dow futures down 22 points. We were down a little more overnight. We have the NASDAQ green slightly. S&P flat, down 2 points. Russell is up about 50 cents. The VIX is up 5.88%, 1423 currently. Going to commodities here, crude oil up about 0.29%, 69.36 a barrel. Keeping an eye on that 70.50, 70.75 levels. See if I can go long there. See if I can maybe target 74 or 75. $2.44 for gasoline futures. That's up as well. Gold futures 1941. We covered our short position on gold right around 1921. So again, pretty neutral on that. We'll see what we get on it. 2281 on silver, up 2%. Copper flat, $3.80. Euro dollar 109.16, up 27 pips. Dollar yen. I still have a long position on it. I am down this morning. 143.14 on it. It is down because the dollar is weaker. One of the weakest currencies today, with the British pound, as we're looking into 127.12. Both weakest on the board. Again, pretty much flat. Bitcoin pulled back a little bit, 2%, 30,490. Ethereum down about 1%. And in regards to the headlines over the weekend, again, we had that Russian stuff going on, whether it was a mutiny, whether it was a civil war, whether it's some kind of issue. Again, a lot of people were talking about the markets at that point. It was a Saturday. It's best to just, you really can't do anything about it other than just read up on it. Best thing to do is just enjoy your weekend. When it gets to futures at 6 p.m., you can always check it. But again, you really can't do anything unless you're trading futures on it on Sunday. So really, to worry about it, not really worth it, to be honest. Let's kind of go over a couple of things that I did write on the blog this morning. Some pre-market movers, some updates, downgrades. Here's some earnings that are coming up. Carnival Cruise Line, I don't see the earnings yet. Let's see if I have anything. Nothing on Carnival Cruise in terms of earnings, but we can always take a look at the actual price action. Nothing yet on Carnival Cruise Line right now. So again, once we get the earnings, we'll go ahead and retweet it. You can see before the open is when Carnival does release their earnings, but I don't have anything yet. In terms of the week, Micron reports on Wednesday and Nike reports on Thursday. Real quick, the seasonality. That's something that I really want to go over today. The end of June tends to be very weak seasonally. Granted, this is the 50-year range till 2009. So again, it doesn't have the data of the last 24 years. But again, the end of June tends to be seasonally weak as we get stronger into July. Here's some numbers to back that up that is actually updated. Here we go. July is historically a good month for stocks, averaging the best return out of all the 12 months. I used to think it was November. November being my birthday, it was always great in the stock market. But July, historically a good month for stocks. Over the past 10 years, stocks have been higher 9 times in July. That's a 90% hit rate in terms of how strong or how weak the seasonality goes in terms of July. And again, if we expand this a little more, you can see August tends to be a little weaker, kind of a 50-50 hit. And then September tends to be weaker as well. As we go into October, that could be skewed. Obviously, Lehman Brothers. We also had 9/11, after 9/11 as well. So again, a couple of dot-com bubble. October tends to be kind of skewed due to big events happening in October. Nothing you could do. But again, 70% of the time, it is up on average of 2.5%, being the third best performing month, even with all those things happening. But again, this is past 10 years. So the past 10 years, 2013, what was the last thing that we had in October in terms of weakness? Not much. But again, in terms of stretching it out, even with those uh, big news and everything like that, you could see all this 9/11 dot-com bubble, all that stuff. Again, that's all part of October rolling. But again, if we go into the time frame of the past 10 years, October tends to be strong. So we have July, November, October, April. That should be kind of the 4 months that we're looking at least in the past 10 years, that have been relatively strong in the market. Usually in July, most people take time off. It's kind of the summer snooze. I think that kind of goes into August. If you remember last August, we had that bear market rally where the Fed said it sounded like it was a pivot, but not really. And then what happened? We fell. We rejected that August high, and now we broke it. So there you go. In terms of Pfizer, that was something I'm looking at today as well. Pfizer, I have puts on it. It is now at 36.97, so they are in the money on those 38s. Again, I sent it out on the blog and on Twitter. Let me see if I can get this. Here was the UOA. If I can go back here. This was back in the 22nd, so it was on Thursday. Seeing some UOA on PFE, that's Pfizer, July 21, 36 puts and 38 puts. Have 40,000 and 20K respectively. Let's go to Pfizer and take a look at the chart together. Let's see here. Well, to the daily chart. Oh, actually, you know what? We'll play the hourly. Again, now we're testing some support. So again, if you have these Pfizer puts, I would probably cover the majority of the position, maybe leave a runner. I mean, you just want to catch that as quick as possible. Swinging options can be a tough sell. We do not have any gaps to fill at the bottom. So again, we already broke this alert of 38.13. If we go ahead and expand this on the weekly, you can see that really the lows are 30. And I don't think we get there immediately. So I would cover those shorts right at the open. If you have Pfizer, you take it, you move on and be happy, because that was a trade that you probably weren't even looking at before. So again, anyone who has Pfizer puts, cover the majority of the position, close most of it, leave a runner, whatever you want. But I am closing first thing in the morning. I'm just happy to get it. So again, that's done with. Let's answer some questions here. Good morning. What is going on with the dollar? The dollar is basically just chopping around, getting a little bit of rejection. But look at this on the hourly chart on the dollar. I mean, it's just pulling back pretty much. And it's just been really kind of stuck between 105 and 102. And again, we've been saying that in the summertime, we expect this to break 100. Boy, did we get close in April. But again, if you're a stock market bull, you want the dollar to be weak. If you're a commodity bull, you want the dollar to be weak. You want the dollar to slide down. You want yields and you want the dollar to come down. So again, if you want the stock market to go higher, you can see how April, how much we went higher, May, and then June kind of mixed in comparison. That's the dollar. February, March was kind of choppy, but February and January were very solid. Again, very, very close correlation. So why don't we just, compare it? Let's compare it to the S&P 500. Pretty similar price action. As it peaked, you could see how it fell, and when the dollar was down, how high stocks were. So again, as the stock market, as the dollar went up, the stock market started sliding. Again, it's because stocks are priced in dollars, guys. It's very simple. So again, you have what you call a negative correlation. As the stock market has gone higher, you can see the dollar has come lower. What was the low in October? Look at the dollar was at its peak, 113.94. As that slides, the stocks go up. So there is your negative. That's your negative correlation between stocks and the dollar. Again, if you want stocks to go higher, you need the dollar to go lower. Let's see if we can remove this study here. We'll edit the study in comparison. X, apply, back to the dollar. Let's go ahead and take a look at AMD. I sent this one out to masterclass on Friday. I was playing a bounce here off this green line. Remember, we played puts to that gap fill. We had the 114 puts last week deep in the money. It got to 110, which was my target. Even got to 107.52. I had the 110 puts as well. Pretty much just stuck with the analysis. And again, if we kind of stretch this out on a daily basis, you can see how important that green line is. Again, that's your rejection of the June highs. We got pretty close in August, and then we finally broke out of it in May. Now we're doing a full retest. Again, if you are looking at a stock here They get a little bit of a discount. I mean, 20% ain't bad on AMD. Let me see if I can get an exact figure. So we'll go from 138 to 110. Again, about a 20%. Well, we got to 132, so that's not exactly 20%. Well, 16% from the peak. Not terrible in terms of maybe buying a little more AMD here. But I think around the 100 level, I think it gets interesting. But a nice pullback. If you're someone that DCAs dollar cost averages, then AMD is looking pretty nice here for a bounce. And I do have calls. I do have the 112s, I believe. The 112 calls or 113s right around here is what I'm targeting. Nice bump this morning. It's up about $1.30. I'll probably be covering that position this morning as well. Microsoft, let's take a look at it. All right, Microsoft does have a gap to fill on the hourly here around 339.60. I don't think I want to rush out and trade this because I do expect us to be a little weaker this week. Again, due to the seasonality in June, I expect July to catch some bids. So again, we got asked that question on the on the QQQ on Instagram, and they asked, what do you think about the Qs this week? And I said we're going to go lower. And why do I say that? It's really purely just because of fundamentals, not fundamentals, because of seasonality. Now, again, if we do start bouncing again, I have no problem going long. But again, I'm looking at, I want to close out my longs. I want to go ahead and just kind of get through this week, end the quarter right. So far, so good in the quarter. I want to catch Amazon and I want to catch Meta on my positions. I want to catch AMD. I want to catch Pfizer and just be done. And just kind of see what else we get. Because, again, we do expect a little bit more of a downside action in terms of the market just this week. You know, you have blackout, you have stock buyback blackouts, you have Powell speaking again this week, but not in a Federal Reserve capacity. He's speaking at a roundtable I think in Europe. But in terms of Microsoft, again, 339.60 is your upside in terms of the gap fill. Anything below 330, I'm taking a look at puts. Taking a look at around 325 to 322 is my target. I'm not excited about it, to be honest, but again, if I'm looking for some more downside action, Microsoft would probably be something up there. Let's go ahead and take a look at FLSR. I don't know what that is. Doesn't come up. Sorry, Austin. I don't know what that is. TAN. If you can retype me the actual ticker, and if you don't do it on time before we close out the video, type it under the comment section, exactly the ticker, and I'll go ahead and respond to it, Austin. What platform are you on? Bloomberg? No, this is Thinkorswim, a TD Ameritrade. It's only available in the United States. It was created by the owner of Tasty Trade, and then it was bought out by TD Ameritrade. So again, it's a whole platform. To me, it's the best platform out there that is free for everybody. FSLR, excuse me. If you're looking for a nice setup in terms of, you know, kind of like the way this looks, and you're outside of the country, take a look at Koifin. It's free of charge. They have other paid services. To me, this is kind of like the Bloomberg free. And again, if you're somebody that likes all the flashing lights and you like to dig deep a little bit into fundamentals and technicals, I'd probably use TradingView if anything, if I didn't have TOS. But again, here, Koifin. But in terms of Bloomberg, Bloomberg is extremely expensive. So unless you're a professional, I wouldn't get it. Unless you're someone that trades fixed income, I guess, like bonds. But for like someone who's just an equity trader, not really. You could just get the Bloomberg News subscription. Take it from me, that's probably the best. Financial Juice, this is another free service I recommend as well. This is absolutely free of charge. There is a pro membership, but again, you get a ton of news. If you're someone that loves Twitter or loves using Twitter for news like TweetDeck, but you just want to focus on financial news and macro, Financial Juice is the way to go. Big shout out to them. They are amazing. So that's what we got in terms of that. Should I wait to invest in Tesla long-term until it dips to a certain level? Thank you. If you're someone that likes to be on top of everything, you like to read, you like to listen to the earnings reports and all that stuff, then yes, you can possibly time it. Time in terms of getting a good price, right? And Tesla was downgraded by Goldman today. There is a gap to fill at 235.06. Not a terrible place. I think at $200 it gets really compelling. If you're $200 per share personally. I like Tesla long-term. I'm a Tesla shareholder. So again, no issues here. I love Tesla. I actually want to buy a Tesla in the future. But again, if you're someone that does this for a living or does this every day, yeah, I would start taking a look at the 210, 200 level. That's what I'm looking at to buy. We want a little more of a discount. But you can see here there's a gap to fill at 235. I think what's best, Yaisha, is to dollar cost average Tesla. Since it's so volatile, you can use that to your advantage. So every week or every month you buy a certain amount of shares, and depending on the fluctuation of the market, you'll catch either more shares or less. So again, it kind of puts it on autopilot. You don't even have to think about it. I recommend that for those who are just not on top of things every day. And if you're not a big enthusiast into the market, you're not a trader, you're not big like that, you're just, hey, listen, I like Tesla and I want to own it. Dollar cost average it. Put a little bit every month or a little bit every paycheck into Tesla and just do it that way. Make life easier. Should I wait? Thoughts on KR? Okay, FSR. Excuse me, FSR. All right, for solar, anything here? Again, uptrend on the daily, so nothing bad. Support right around 172. You do have a gap to fill at around 169. That's probably a good zone to take a look long. But then you also have 77 from July's earnings report as well. So we do have some downside risk, and you can see it here on the hourly. I don't know much about them, to be honest. I don't know much about their fundamentals, but they are an uptrend. If I'm just looking on a technical basis, my first buy level would probably be around 170 to 172 if I wanted to stay long this thing. In terms of trading it, I don't know much about it, and the charts don't look amazing either. So I'll just leave that alone. The KRE is the banks. We still have this very key trend line that we've bounced from. If you guys remember, we drew this way back. Pretty clean. We need to get to 35. Oh, we need to get to 36 before this gets interesting for a possible buy for a swing. So again, let's get to 36.18 on KRE. That's the weekly trend line if we can get there. Remember, July tends to be very strong in terms of the market. So maybe that might be the bottom short term. DPSD. Let's see what that is. This is directions ETF. I don't know which directional ETF this is. Doesn't tell me exactly what it is, but DPSD. Let me make sure DPSD stock. I'll pull a quick Google search. This is the regional 3X bull ETF. I would not do the directional shares ETF. Take it from me. I did TQQs and I got stopped out. It sucks. So I would stay away from that. I would just do KRE, IWM, stick with the basic stuff. If you kind of want to mess around with leverage, just trade futures or options. Don't do the 3X leverage stuff. What do I think about NVIDIA? Very happy shareholder. Guys, I've been long NVIDIA since 2018. I'm very happy. Love NVIDIA. The problem is that this gap here. If I was looking to buy more shares of NVIDIA, and I would want to and I'd love to, get me to 300 and we'll talk. I'm not buying here elevated at 422. And again, this is coming from somebody who bought NVIDIA, I think around 78 back in 2018. Again, I remember telling Nick and Juan, our VPs, we were talking about NVIDIA back in the day when they were doing the chips. Funny story, they actually made the graphics chip for the Nintendo Switch. And I brought the Switch to the office one day and had a sticker on it. And I said, what is NVIDIA? And I started researching, and there we go. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you get lucky. But again, I would wait for 300 to buy NVIDIA. Unless you want a dollar cost average here. Dollar cost average, go for it to your heart's content. But I'd wait for 300 on NVIDIA. Can you please analyze Zim? It's a shipping company. Sure. Let's take a look at it. Zim Integrated Shipping, I don't know much about them, but this daily chart looks absolutely awful. Looks like a high beta name. Would I do anything here? No, I wouldn't do anything here whatsoever. You got a couple of gaps to fill to 1726. If this has options, maybe I'll trade it, but to invest in it, no. And the only reason I say that is, yes, it could bounce, but I'd rather wait to see who's buying shares. Can we get to at least maybe, I don't know, 20? Can we get to 18.99? Or I'd say 22.68. Then I would say fine, because you might want to get out of this downward trend. You want to wait and see if there's any kind of trend change. If not, it's just going to continue to sink, and you'll get a better price later if you were looking to buy. So no, I would not rush out and buy Zim. I don't know much about them personally, but I would kind of stay away, at least for now. Put your upside alerts. If they break, we go ahead and revisit. Very simple. Let the computer do the work for you. Thoughts on Man U, my man? Who are we buying and selling? Let's go ahead and sell Man U first, the actual club from the Glazers, and get somebody who's really just willing to spend the money on the club, on the right players, put an actual team together. It's very unfortunate. Now that City has the treble, it helps to have oil money. Obviously, the Glazers don't have it, and we need someone who's going to get there to put Man U where it needs to be. My personal pick for the new owner for Man U. Jeff Bezos, make it happen. I'm just saying, you got tons of money. Go ahead and make it happen. Buy Mbappe and get him to Old Trafford. If not, he's going to go to Real anyways. Maybe I would cross my fingers and maybe get Zidane into Man U. That would be great. I doubt it though. Thank you. Always straightforward and precise. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you guys for everybody who's been watching. Guys, I would love to have you on the live market blog. I talk about this stuff all day. I love this stuff. So again, if you are interested, join our Discord server for our live market blog. So many great things to come. It's Monday. Aren't you excited? I love it. End of the quarter. Let's end this right, and we'll keep pushing forward, and let's make it a great trading Monday. Have a great rest of your day, guys. I will see you tomorrow for the next morning note. And if you're on the market blog, I'll see you in a couple minutes. Cheers.